The morning sun, a golden whisper across the thatched roofs of Shantivan village, always found Rohan in the deepest throes of slumber, while the other villagers stirred, their days unfolding with the rhythm of the rising sun, the baker kneading dough, the farmer tending his fields, the fishermen casting their nets into the languid river. Rohan's world remained stubbornly paused. He possessed a sharp mind, a quick wit, and a gentle heart, yet these gifts lay dormant beneath a thick blanket of inertia. His name, ironically, meant ascending, but Rohan seemed determined to defy it. His small, sun-drenched home, fragrant with his mother Malini's cooking, often echoed with her loving but weary sighs. "Rohan, the vegetables won't sort themselves," she'd call, her voice carrying the faint tremor of a woman who carried too many burdens. Or his father, a stoic carpenter, would say, "Son, the wood needs splitting before the monsoon," his words heavy with unspoken disappointment. Rohan would murmur agreement, promise to get to it, and then, invariably, drift back into the world of daydreams, of grand inventions and heroic deeds he planned to accomplish someday. This someday was a mythical land, ever receding. Opportunities like gentle breezes would brush past him, offering paths to growth, to learning, to purpose. The village elders offered him apprenticeships, seeing the spark of intelligence in his eyes. The traveling scholar once invited him to join his journey, impressed by Rohan's insightful, albeit sporadic observations. But Rohan, ever a connoisseur of comfort, would let them pass. He'd justify it to himself. "It's not the right time. I need to think this through. I'll start next week when I'm truly ready." His friends, once his constant companions, had slowly begun to outpace him. Ramesh now ran his father's pottery business, his hands caked with clay, but his eyes bright with ambition. Priya, with her keen mind, had left for the city on a scholarship, her letters speaking of a vibrant world of learning. Rohan would read them, a pang of something akin to envy mixed with a deeper, more unsettling shame settling in his gut. He knew he was capable, perhaps even more so, yet he remained trapped, an hourglass turned on its side, its sands unwilling to fall. The true weight of his idleness began to press when his mother, Malini, started falling ill more frequently. Her cough, once a minor annoyance, grew persistent. Her strength visibly waned. The village doctor, a kind but limited man, prescribed simple remedies, but hinted at more specialized care, a possibility that lay beyond their meager means. A scholarship, a prestigious one offered by a benevolent trust for bright village youths, became Rohan's only hope. The key to his mother's recovery and his own escape from the quicksand of someday. The application required essays, recommendations, and a meticulously crafted project proposal. Rohan, energized by desperation, pored over the requirements. He had brilliant ideas, innovative solutions for the village's water woes, a passionate plea for his mother's well-being. But the old habits, like insidious vines, began to creep back. He'd plan his writing for tomorrow, research for later tonight, and draft his project proposal after a short nap. Days bled into weeks. The deadline loomed like a thundercloud. The night before submission, Rohan found himself frantically scribbling, his mind a whirlwind of half-formed thoughts and feverish panic. The resulting application was a rushed, disjointed mess, a pale shadow of his true potential. A month later, the letter arrived. It was thin, formal, and carried the crushing weight of rejection. His application, it stated, lacked clarity and demonstrated a concerning lack of commitment. Malini, her face pale, tried to comfort him, but Rohan saw the quiet despair in her eyes, a reflection of his own. He had failed her, and in doing so, he had failed himself in the most profound way. That night, as the monsoon rains lashed against their window, mirroring the storm in his heart, Rohan felt a raw, searing pain he had never known. It was the pain of lost time, of squandered potential, and of a love that he couldn't protect. He watched his mother shiver, her cough echoing in the small room, and a vow, cold and resolute, formed in his mind: this cannot continue. The following morning, Rohan rose before the sun, his eyes heavy from a sleepless night, but his spirit alight with a fierce, unfamiliar resolve. He sought out Master Arun, the village's oldest and most revered craftsman. A man whose hands, gnarled with age, had sculpted beauty from raw wood for decades. Master Arun's workshop, filled with the scent of sandalwood and sawdust, is a sanctuary of quiet diligence. Master Rohan began, his voice hoarse. I have wasted my life. My mother is ill, and I have nothing to offer but empty promises. I want to change, but I don't know where to begin, Master Arun. Without looking up from the intricate carving he was polishing, simply said, "The beginning, Rohan, is always now." He offered no grand speeches, no easy answers. Instead, he offered Rohan a simple broom. Sweep my workshop. Every corner, every speck of dust. Do it until it shines. Rohan, surprised, hesitated, then complied. The act of sweeping, of bringing order to chaos, felt strangely therapeutic. But it was agonizingly slow. His muscles ached, his mind wandered, and the old temptation to abandon the task gnawed at him. He swept, then slumped. He swept a bit more, then found himself staring out the window. Master Arun, observing him with a gentle gaze, saw the internal battle raging one afternoon. As Rohan stared listlessly at a partially carved wooden bird, frustrated by his slow progress, Master Arun sat beside him. He picked up a discarded wood shaving, letting it sift through his fingers. "Rohan," he said, his voice soft but firm, "there are no shortcuts to mastery, only diligent steps. Every moment you waste is a piece of the journey you will never reclaim. Remember what Benjamin Franklin wisely said? Lost time is never found again." Quote resonated deeply within Rohan. Lost time is never found again. The words weren't a scolding. They were a profound truth, a stark reminder of the non-renewable nature of life's most precious resource. It hit him with the force of a revelation. Every minute spent dreaming without doing, every hour procrastinated, was not merely delayed progress. It was an irreversible loss. He had thought time was infinite, a vast ocean he could swim in at his leisure. Now he saw it for what it truly was, a fragile, finite thread. From that day, Rohan's transformation began. It was not a sudden, dramatic shift, but a painstaking, inch-by-inch climb. He started small. He woke with the sun, no matter how much his body protested. He meticulously cleaned Master Arun's workshop, finding joy in the gleaming surfaces. He learned to sand wood until it was silken smooth, to carve with precision, to mend broken tools. He dedicated a fixed block of time each day to learning, starting with simple textbooks, then moving to more complex subjects. He stumbled, of course. There were days when the lure of the old habits was almost unbearable, when fatigue and self-doubt threatened to drag him back into the shadows. He'd miss a morning, feel a crushing wave of guilt, and want to give up. But then he'd remember Master Arun's words, and the image of his mother's tired smile, and he'd pull himself back up, reminding himself that consistency, not perfection, was the key. Each small victory, a perfectly sanded plank, a chapter understood, a task completed before its deadline, fueled his growing confidence. He learned to break down daunting tasks into manageable steps, to focus intensely on one thing at a time, and to value the quiet satisfaction of a day well spent. He applied for a new, lesser-known scholarship, one focused on practical skills and community development. This time, he approached it with meticulous discipline. He researched thoroughly, spoke to villagers about their needs, and crafted a project proposal for a sustainable water purification system. Drawing on the engineering texts he now devoured, he wrote his essays not in a panicked rush, but with thoughtful reflection, each word carefully chosen. His recommendations were glowing. Speaking of his newfound diligence and genuine passion, the day the second letter arrived, Rohan's heart pounded. But this time, there was a quiet confidence beneath the anxiety. It was thicker than the first. With trembling hands, he opened it. Inside, a congratulatory message, brimming with praise for his well-researched proposal and the evident commitment in his application. He had not only secured the scholarship, but had also been offered an additional grant for his project. He rushed home, the letter clutched in his hand. Malini, now a little stronger, sat by the window. When he told her, her eyes, once clouded with worry, filled with tears of joy. The scholarship money would cover her advanced medical treatments in the city, and the grant would bring clean water to Shantivan. A legacy of Rohan's perseverance, Rohan went to the city with his mother, ensuring her care. He spent his days immersed in his studies and practical work, learning the intricacies of water engineering. He worked tirelessly, driven not by desperation, but by a profound sense of purpose. When he returned to Shantivan a year later, he was no longer the lazy boy who had once wasted away his mornings. He was a young man forged in the crucible of self-discipline, his hands capable, his mind sharp. In his spirit radiating a quiet strength, he oversaw the installation of the water purification system, a marvel of ingenuity and practical design, bringing fresh, clean water to every home in Shantivan. His mother, her health restored, watched him with an overflowing heart, her face radiant with pride. The village, once accustomed to his dawdling, now looked to him with respect and admiration. One evening, as the sun dipped below the hills, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Rohan sat by the river, watching the water flow ceaseless and swift. He thought of the sands of time, now flowing steadily through his own hourglass. He had learned that the value of time wasn't just in its finite nature, but in the infinite possibilities it offered when embraced with purpose. The journey had been arduous, marked by self-doubt and relapses. But every step, every effort, had chiseled away the old Rohan, revealing the capable, compassionate man he was always meant to be. He was no longer just Rohan, the son of Malini. He was Rohan, the architect of his own destiny, testament to the power of a single moment of change, diligently followed, one precious second at a time. The lazy boy was gone, replaced by a man who understood with every fiber of his being that the greatest treasure was not what time brought him, but what he chose to do with it.